Welcome back, man. We are in season 4. Yes, indeed. I am super excited. So, thank you guys for joining me for our first episode of season 4. This is titled Ego versus Impact. If you're watching live on the broadcast, make sure you put your city, state where you're repping from in the chat. Those who haven't watched us live, you can catch us live every Monday on Facebook 7 p.m. for the weekly tap in, which turns into our live recorded broadcast or podcast. So what's good, man? Took a little vacay, a little hiatus. But it was good. It was a good time for me to reflect and kind of see, which direction did we want to go? I was looking at some of the old episodes, man. Matter of fact, if I were you guys, I would go check out the Larry White. If you guys have been to Lolo's fried chicken in Vegas or any of those, you could definitely check out that episode. He goes deep. And one of the things that he talked about that I wanted to highlight was when he had Shaq coming to his restaurant and Shaquille O'Neal. I know he's catching some flack right now, but at one point in time, he was doing some, he probably still is doing some good things. You don't want to, people make mistakes, and who are we? But, anyways, he had Shaq coming to his restaurant. Shaq was like, man, you need to expand. You need to get this larger restaurant. You need to do XYZ. And he was like, "Yeah, all right, man." He thinking, I think he even gave him to the point of gave him some idea on him investing in it. And I think Shaq got traded to Miami or something like that, to where he left the city. And you should listen to the story. But the whole point was it made him stretch, right? It made him stretch his imagination to the point of something that a facility that large. And he talks about how they got a larger square footage facility, built it from the ground up. It's like a $2 million building. So those types of things inspire me, right? As not only as a podcaster, but as a potential restaurateur, of what's possible, even when someone stretches you. So yeah, man. Good things are happening. I'm loving where we're at, and um, this particular episode is near and dear to me because it's something that I'm really battling right now, which is ultimately the ego and why. What's going on, fam? Tapping in. Appreciate you tapping in, fam. Um, of why the ego is so dominant in our lives, and a lot of times how we ultimately kind of cave to it, and it's usually to our demise. And I know for me, most of the time, most of the things that I'm doing are pretty much ego driven, and I had to take a step back and really check myself. I'm like, I'm not egotistical. I'm not any of this, any of that. That's not what it's really about. It's about, so I can give you an example. So, like, some of the things I struggle with are having to tell people about themselves, right? What is that? What is that? That's ego driven. Like, man, I gotta check this cat, or I gotta tell somebody this, I gotta tell somebody that, and you start to look back and you say, well, why? Because I needed to tell them and they need to know. Well, maybe they already know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're not telling them anything that's enlightening. Maybe they know they're a stupid ass. Maybe they know they're foolish. Maybe they know that this and this and that. And I was like, man, my responses, a lot of times I respond and I get myself in a lot of trouble by just me having to have the right of way or to say so. And that's all ego driven. Like me, I have to be right. I have to have the right say so. I have to, man. And it takes a lot for you to step back and say, you know what? I don't have to be right. I don't have to be in the forefront. Hell, I don't have to have people even know I'm around it. A lot of times I see restaurants, first thing they do is put their name in front of what they're actually doing. Duane's barbecue, Duane's chick. I'm not like that. I'm trying to move away from that, because once you start to feed the ego, that's something that you're going to constantly be doing. And what would you rather have? Your ego fed or have an impact? And that's the one thing about this episode that I'm really passionate about, is because I want to have more of an impact on the world rather than feed my ego. If I feed my ego, that's a temporary fix. That's something that I'm really doing in the moment, right? But if I want to have an impact, does it matter who I am? Does it matter what my name is? Does it matter if I have the stamp on it? Right? We get into a lot when we say, man, I gotta, it has to be And our ego, oh, I gotta prove this. Like, how many people in the pen on ego alone? Man, I can't let that ride. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to, right? Consequences. The ego will get you in a whole lot of trouble showing out when the fights usually happen. Clubs over, females out there, a lot of liquor being passed around. So then what happens? A lot of egos are out there. Nobody wants their ego crushed or hurt. So they out there proving themselves, gunplay starts, somebody gets splattered. That's usually what happens. And why? Egos, right? What do people get in trouble? How do you get manipulated? People feeding into your ego. Oh man, you dope, man. You can sing amazing. Man, you can cook so good. And you don't know why the hell they're telling you that. Right? You don't know why they're telling you that. So a lot of times, like in the four agreements, it talks about, right, how to not take anything personal, right? From a good and a bad standpoint, right? Or how, because sometimes when we sitting up there taking compliments, it could be because somebody's trying to manipulate us. It could be because they feel good at that time. It may not have anything to do with what we're actually doing. That's why you take it with a grain of salt. You got to feed yourself from within, right? You got to have an understanding that it doesn't matter who's watching, it doesn't matter who's looking. I'm still going to have impact on my legacy. I'm still going to have an impact on this future of this earth. How do I do that? One step at a time by showing people, right? I could contribute a bunch of pollution to this conversation, right? I could talk about a bunch of nonsense. I could talk about gossip. I could talk about what's going on in the world right now. That's a choice. Or I could talk about how I'm trying to get away from feeding my ego. Or I could talk about something that's a little bit more positive, right? It's a choice. And one of the things that I'm focusing on is, hey, man, I'm choosing to focus on the good things, right? I've given you guys that example in the past talking about walking through the park and paying attention to the gopher holes and dog shit. As opposed to all this beauty and nature that's out here, we focus a lot of times on the wrong things. And I tell my son that all the time, like, man, you focus on the wrong thing, right? And a lot of times we're sitting there trying to feed our ego. How do we feel? We go out, we try to put things on, we do all this stuff. Why? So that we feel good. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not negating feeling good, but you can't get to the point to where you're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? I'm giving so that everybody knows. Look at me, I'm at charity. You guys have seen that meme where they have the picture of the person taking a picture and they're giving money, right? Like that's ego. You know what I'm saying? Versus impact. And if you want to have an impact, it doesn't matter, man. I had to silence myself in a meeting the other day. Because in a meeting, a lot of times in the business world, what you're trying to do is get attention. You want praise, almost like a child. We want praise from our parents. We want praise from our boss. We're constantly, I got to check my son about that too. He's looking for praise from the coaches. We grow up with that hunger for praise, right? And what does that do? That feeds our ego. And we start to go around looking for that. We're feeding for that. We're performing for praise as opposed to impact. And we should be focusing on our repetitions, right? Are we getting better? I don't care if the coach sees me or not. If I just keep working with my head down, if he acknowledges in me, if he's having a good day, he or she's having a good day, that's cool. But if you don't, shit, I'm still the same cat, right? I'm still the same person. And that's the thing about ego versus impact, right? It doesn't matter what you think or how you view me. We got to walk away from, wow, what are they going to think about me? Ego versus impact. Do I want to have an impact on my life? I can care less what they think about me. What difference does it make? And how's that going to make my water boil? Right? It's not going to. So why am I focusing on what they think? Because again, that's feeding what? Ego. I want everybody to love me. I want everybody to be proud of me. I want everybody to, doesn't matter. I've done things and I've seen people take credit. And that was my first introduction to ego versus impact. My first introduction. When someone took credit for something that I know they stole and they know I know they took from me. And that was my ego saying, let me let everybody know that you took. No, 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 no. And I had to check myself. I said, what the hell is that about? You got to let people know that you're the one behind this. You got to let people know that you did X, Y, Z. Why? As long as the deed is done. What was your intent? we taking it back to intent, right? One of the things I said earlier today, I did a little small video, talked about start with your intent and get to it. And what that means is you can't mess around when you are on a mission and you looking to get something done. You got to set that intention and walk out. Like, right? I got this book of intentions. This is my positive book of intentions. So you see, it's a pen in here. We ready to go, and I keep it close to me. And the reason being is because I want to set my intentions for the day. I want to smash on it. I want to take off on a day before it takes off on me. And one of the things that I'm learning, I'm learning is the credit doesn't matter. And I think I mentioned earlier, I was in a meeting one time a little earlier this week. And the meeting, you want to be praised, and that's where I got off course. But yeah, you want to be praised by your boss. So a lot of times you speak up, you try to do things in order to get praised. So say, for instance, somebody brings up a subject and you want to interject and you throw out an idea. Well, do you have to have the idea? Right? Is it more important that the idea gets done? Right? So you got to think about impact and being effective versus ego, because a lot of times the ego will hold you back. Man, you don't have to be the one to say something. You could tell somebody else, let them get the credit. What difference does it make? Because the ego doesn't trust that God is watching. That's the main thing, right? First of all, the ego doesn't believe that God is watching. So it wants to take the credit. It wants to have the praise, and wants everybody to think that they're magical, as opposed to giving the credit to God, which is where it should be due. Right? Our ego says, "Nah, I need the praise. You got to tell me I'm the man," and it doesn't matter. The man really doesn't care. The man doesn't need to be told he's the man. That's the crazy part about it. They don't need to be told that, because they still have an impact. They know their words carry weight. They know their behavior carries weight. They know people watching their moves. And they don't need to let everybody know, I know everybody watching my moves. You don't need to let everybody know that. Just keep making moves and shut up, because obviously it's having an impact. So again, ego, I need the credit, man. I'm the one got everybody doing. Man, that's not what. Imagine if God did that. Right? Think about that. Imagine God, man, I'm the one that got all these fools popping, man. They don't know how to do shit. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be nothing. Man, it'll deflate you, right? So why do we need to take the credit for or everything? We got to fall back sometime and let somebody else have that thing, right? Those who've already touched it, those who are fiending for it, need more of it, are usually in a desperate sense. So they're constantly in need of ego. Man, tell me I'm the greatest. And they look desperate and pitiful and soggy, right? Because they need that. They look weak. They look weak. And that's the thing. And it's like, man, if you fall back from trying to make yourself look so strong, you're gonna become humongous, right? Because of your impact, because of the way you fall back, because of the way people are influenced by your words, by your actions. You know what I'm saying? They watch, just move, dog. Just keep moving. You don't need the praise. The praise is when you look back, or God tells you, man, you done changed the world. Did you realize that you helped me? I didn't realize that because I had my head down working. I was just focusing on impact. I wasn't focusing on the ego. I wasn't looking up at when I'm at the gym every 5 minutes to see if my biceps are getting bigger. I'ma just keep going to the gym every day. You know what I'm saying? Eventually somebody would tell, man, damn, dog. And I'll be like, well, all I know is I'll just go all the time. Right? Because it doesn't matter. And that's what we have to get away from. I know, like, it took me a minute. I remember I worked in radio. I would always want the credit. I would always want everybody to know I did something, because I was striving to climb up this hill as opposed to trusting God. I got to climb it up. I got to climb up it myself. I got to let everybody know how fantastic I am. And all I did was piss a bunch of people off. All I did was turn a bunch of people off, because they knew and I knew that was all ego based. The hell did I need the credit for? For what? Right? And a lot of times that's a hard pill to swallow. It takes an enormous soul to embrace that concept. Right? That's not an easy concept to embrace, man. You got it. I'm not tripping. You know what I'm saying? I know who I am. You see my walk, you'll know who I am too. And that's how we have to stroll. We individuals, right? So we don't need anybody to acknowledge us because hell, for the most part, they're not going to recognize who we are in the first place. Most people don't, right? You got to understand who you are. I realized that when I was walking, I was doing walks in Inglewood today. My son was at his dojo. And I said, I looking back, I said, I'm on some alchemist shit. I can literally create whatever I want to. And that's a gift and a curse and scary. Well, why don't you do an Amazon? Maybe I don't want to leave my kids like that. Maybe I don't want to do this, but don't say that I can't do it. I look back at my track record and there was nothing that I didn't do that I didn't want to do that wasn't done. You know what I'm saying? And that's not ego. That's, hey, man, I got a connection with God. That's it, the period. I got 100% connection with God. And that makes it easy for me to walk amongst, right? To move accordingly. As long as I know that I have the good, I'm straight. I'm not necessarily going to deviate. With that kind of power, you don't start ego tripping because God will bounce on you. Say, well, you got it. Since you know how to do all this stuff, go ahead and knock it out. I'll see you in a bit. And it's at that point when we run into the enemy and we start crying out for God again. But he never leaves us. He's always standing right there and usually pulls us out of it. But then we come to the understanding of who God really is. And most cats that you know on a certain level, they understand it ain't got nothing to do with them. And that's where the ego gets taken out the game. God is running this show, partner. You know what I'm saying? So everything that we get done is usually through that source, which is another hard pill to swallow. But the humble man, I'm telling you, why not? You don't need to wear the jewelry out. Have it tucked. Cats will walk up on you, they'll see it. They know what it is. You don't have to put it all out there for everybody to see all the time. Give your gifts. That's what you floss, right? Real kings floss their gifts. They gave away stuff. They didn't stun on people, pull up and oh, look at all my lambs and stab out. Oh, peep my horses out. Ha ha. They didn't do that kind of stuff. They gave away horses. They go, what you need? Here, 100 horses, 100 cattle. There go some chickens too. Right? Because they knew the source. It's the peons, it's the ones who don't understand what the source is that come up short in the ego versus impact lane. Because they're thinking the ego is a much stronger deal. I'm in control. I did this. Feed me, me. Tell me I'm the greatest. As opposed to chilling and man, I got so much in me that I can inflate somebody else. Imagine that. I got so much power in me that I can actually give it to somebody else. And you think that when you're doing God's work and you're inflating other people, that he's gonna leave you deflated? Impossible. That's not the way God works. So you can give out, right? A lot of times people thinking, oh man, I'm in a crabby, I can't get, man, you can still give love. Figure it out. Dig deep. You got something within you, right? Irrespective of what the circumstances are currently going on. Because your ego says you need to fix it. You need to have a better day before you can give somebody else a good day. Nah, nah, nah. You better start giving. You better understand the way this world works. The longer we are around, the more we understand the way God works in this system of reciprocity, right? Changing the world, not changing my rims, right? I got a bigger task than that. I do. And it's not being holier than thou and what's the term that Will Smith uses? Oh, I can't even think of it. Where there's a term like can't think of the term, but it's where you're thinking your words or stuff are just kind of holier than now. And that's not the stance that I'm taking. But I'm over all that. I just am. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that I can have more of an impact and leave more of a legacy by changing the lives of other people via my actions. Not going in and trying to rearrange their whole systems, but just understanding that we just watch. People watch other people. So if they're gonna watch, give them good stuff to watch. Give them inspiration. I don't care. Copycat, I don't care. The ego will say, man, look at it. My impact is saying, this is God's work. This is God's opportunity. You're just a catalyst for this, homie. So why don't you keep doing God's work and he's going to keep your battery charged too. So keep doing it, right? Keep showing them. Keep go camp and go hike, go bike and show cats how easy it is to do whatever it is you really want God to show them to do. Right? I was walking around my dog, like I said, I was walking around Inglewood. Another cat popped out. You walking? Oh man, that's good. Not tripping, not looking for a high five, but he noticed it. And that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that. Watching for Toronto, man. Salute, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you too, fam. I appreciate you tapping in from AZ. But that was cool for me. That was enough. I'm like, okay, so even if he didn't take action, then you never know what he's gonna do at some point in time. And that's cool because that's what God wanted me to do. When these nudges come and God wants, that's God's work. The ego's like, nah, man, you need credit. Nah, man, you need incentive. Nah, man, you need somebody to go with you to co-sign. Nah, you need you need all this stuff. No, you don't. When you get the nudge from God, the best thing to do is walk, take action. It starts with the intention, what I showed you guys. That's God's instructions on what we getting ready to do today, man. How many miracles we about to accomplish, right? This is what we're gonna do today. And you walk through it, man. The enemy's not gonna be happy. Don't get it twisted. He's gonna give you resistance. Oh, he was throwing bones at me all day today, but I was ducking and dodging. I already knew it was coming. And when I'm on a determined mission, as you should too, start the day off determined. What are you gonna accomplish? What we gonna do today, God, in this universe? Let's get this popping. And attack the day is just like a fight. Getting off first and you three piecing. Do, 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 do. Before they can even, hey man, you three piecing. He can't even, he might have been, the enemy might have been getting ready to ask you for directions. Man, you just three piecing. Sleep. Carry on. I know another demon coming at some point in this journey. Carry on. And you got to understand that's what's getting ready to happen, right? My son fought. He had a fight at his tournament this week, and he had to fight like three cats back to back to back. And he was winded on the last one. He came in second place, but I was just like, that's the enemy. He want to test you, and God's watching this because God knows you can handle it. So it's like having two coaches sitting there, right? The enemy telling you that you can, he throwing everything at you, but God over there just watching you, just like I know you got it. I'm worried about you. I know who you are. I'll wait for you to recognize your greatness as well. And when you recognize your greatness, this is when the change takes place. You recognize your greatness, you use it for the greater good. You understand that it's a privilege, a gift, right? And also a responsibility. It is up to you to use this gift to change the world because God gave it to you, man. You'll be compensated. Don't worry about the bread or the money. God is not in the business of not compensating anybody, right? He'll take care of you. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is this: give, right? Worry about, man, you gonna have enough. You wouldn't have had the seed planted to give, right? You wouldn't have the ability to give. And I'm not talking about just financially. I'm talking about game. I'm talking about more importantly, behavior. It's a guy that just suggests he was on Facebook just randomly, right? And he was like, "Man, got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, did my walk." And I'm like, I just put a little pause, like, man, that low key inspirational, man. Appreciate the post. You don't know how you can move somebody just by a post, an action, suggestion. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, why not keep going with that good energy? Right? Why not try it with the good energy, man? Most people want to post drama and talk about this and this and this and that. And I'm like, we have options, right? We have what's gonna have more impact. Yeah, I can complain about this stuff. Why? Because my car got broken into. So let's talk about it. Boom, 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 boom. That's gonna have a negative impact on somebody. But it'll feed your ego because your ego saying, "I want I want some company, man. My my misery needs some company right now, homie. So come on in." But on the real, right? Think about that. We have the ability to change the world by our actions. True alchemist power. And what are we doing with it? Right? Are we sharing our things? We keeping them secret. I ain't letting nobody know about this. My ego tells me keep it secret, so I look like I'm the god. Who cares who gets the credit? Why does that matter? Who cares? I've let a lot of things go, man. I used to want. I can't wait till I get on Oprah. Da 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 da. Da. Oh man, I want to. Man, what? I don't even care anymore. I want to get on Tavis Smiley. Now I do want to get on Tavis Smiley, but at the same time, I'm seeing other homies on there telling the same similar story that I would tell. So what difference does it make? Who tells it? That's ego versus impact. Pray for them to make sure that the message gets around. Somebody may tap you on the shoulder at some point, but what's that going to do for you? Do you want to see that? Were you doing it for a result, or were you doing it so that people say that you're great? That's the question. Ego versus impact. Do I want to see juveniles be reformed? Yes. Do I want to see people be reformed? Yes. Do I need to be the one to tell the story? My ego will say, yeah, man, you got to be the one out there in front of all the cameras, get you a little, you got to get a gimmick the way you look. No, that's, mm-mm. As long as it gets done, I don't care who does it. Right? That's really falling back. Right? That's really falling back. And not to the point to where you want to disappear. Sometimes you have to go out there and let people know, but do you really? I gotta let people know, man, I ain't went nowhere. Whoop de whoop. I'm such and such, man. You check my track record. Nobody cares. Sad part about it, nobody cares. They only care about what you can do for them today and tomorrow. That's it. And if you can't do it financially, throw a book suggestion out there, man. I went to a TED talk this past weekend. Fantastic. Had me out here looking at the rain different today because there was a sister on there talking about when rain falls, what happened to the trees and all the organisms and trees. And it just made me look at stuff a lot differently now. You know what I'm saying? But I bring that back to the neighborhood. I'm still on my talented 10th shit, right? I go out there and learn and bring things back, right? I bring things back to the neighborhood, bring things back to my community. I go to TED Talks. I don't go to the hood TED Talks. I could go to the one on Crenshaw, or I go to the other one by the beach, where there's a bunch of UCLA and USC professors who do it in their off time. Their kids go to that school. So I'm getting that kind of game. I'm getting game about brain functions and rockets, 3D rockets, right? And that's what I'm bringing back, right? The other stuff, that's somebody else's assignment. I know this community. I'm in this one. I'm bringing it back. But I understand, right? Does it matter? I'm giving suggestions out. Do I need to be the one? I'm learned about some stuff from my son. I put it out there, put the price, everything. I ain't saying get like me. I'm saying get like you. I'm giving you suggestions. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter. You don't have to see, you don't have to even like my post. I don't care. I know somebody's watching. I see the way people move. So that's all I know is am I having an impact on somebody? Is somebody taking this, whatever God's giving me and running with it because it's their gift? I'm just a conduit. I will never take credit and say that I'm more than anything that I put out in front of me. Because again, that's feeding my ego. My impact is whatever God gives me, I got to give to somebody else to keep the flow going, right? Somebody may stop it. I get it. Some people may say, "Now I'm taking on this game and I'm gonna run with it." And do what? You can't get buried with your money or your ideas. You might as well give them all away. Seriously. Things are being used. We're vessels here for a temporary amount of time. What type of impact do you want to have? Bottom line. What type of impact do you want to have over time? Do you want to feed the ego? Hey, I had a bunch of shit. I bought a bunch of stuff. Or I changed a bunch of lives. How did I do that? I showed up on Mondays, every Monday at 7 p.m. and gave them everything that I had that day. Made sure I bought a new light. That's why my lighting is different. I'm investing in this. I'm dead serious about it. Why? This is my calling. You know what I'm saying? I was listening to Jay-Z the other day. He said, do it. I don't care what anybody. I got one person watching right now. I don't care. That's enough. That's enough for me. I don't that would change the world with one person, right? And I believe in this, man. We've done 160 some of these episodes, and I'm down for the 500. Continuously improve, show up. I'm not on no, I got 50,000, man. No, I don't. But I'll deliver every single time. I give it my best, whatever I have, right? Books, suggestions, whatever I have, I'm giving it. It doesn't matter. And that's the thing. That's the reason why I focus so much and I'm getting away from the ego because I want to have more impact. My ego says I need a newspaper, I need a book, I need to walk out there, I need to go do speeches, I need to no, I don't. I need to do whatever I can with wherever I am at that time. What would I have? And right now I have a microphone, a camera, and some lights and God. And that's enough. That will work. That will get me through. That will change somebody at some point in time. And I love it. God's continuously blessing me for that reason. I don't have a want in the world. Only thing I'm needing is more content. How can I give more? I'm not looking to make any money off of this. I'm not looking to do any of that stuff. I have no visions for that. And I had to get away from that too because here I am, I'm setting up the website. I'm going to, man, no. Egos to you need to have everybody. No, I don't. No, I don't. I need to just be who I am and run in my lane. Right? As long as I do that, I'll be fine. And that's the hard part. You want to let everybody know you're doing great. I'm winning this and this. That's fine. You know, quietly take your L's, whatever. That's fine. I do the same thing. I don't want to ruin people's day. So sometimes I'll quietly take my L. But I'll usually spin the story around to make it a lesson for someone because nothing happens by accident and nothing happens for our bad. Everything happens for the good. Period. Nothing happens for our bad. No matter what it is for your good. Either to teach you something, either to train your behavior in some type of way, to enlighten you about something, but nothing ever happens that's not for our good. And that's a tough one to swallow. I get that. You know what I'm saying? I get that. But it's a reality. And once we change our perspective on that, I think we'll see things in a much different light, right? A light that will help us maintain a positive stance, right? Because it's really important to have a positive mental attitude. Your attitude is everything. And sometimes people have stank attitudes and they bring that funk and do all kind of stuff with it. And I understand things happen. I get it, but the best thing to do is have, again, like I always suggest, have your tools around you. This is a war. And the minute people understand that, man, they'll be much better off, right? Because the first thing we do, we walk outside like it's gravy. Oh, ain't nobody out here, man. It's birds chirping the whole nine. And we don't even realize it's a full-blown spiritual war. The demons is out here just waiting for you to come out here unprepared, right? Waiting for you to come out here without a plan. Oh, he don't have no plan. Oh, we about to get his ass. Car, battery, stub his toe, right? We about to get this cat, right? Because he ain't even prepared for what's coming. So we gonna get him with the itty bitty shit. Right? The itty bitty stuff is that little minor stuff that piles up throughout the day. It's like, what the hell, man? To miss a turn, miss a light, to my snatch apart. It's the little itty bitty cuts. And when you go out there without a plan, meaning that you're not prepared, you haven't set your intentions, those itty bitty cuts will bleed your ass to death. And that's the thing we got to stay away from, right? We got to stay away from not understanding that we are in a spiritual war. And the only way that we walk outside with a chest plate or some protection is setting our intentions. Period. It's telling the universe what we want it to do. Right? It's kind of like programming your car, telling it to start, warm up, do all that stuff. I'm about to be out there in 5 minutes. And you telling the universe, hey man, this what we about to do, dog. What? Yeah, man. What? Nah, yeah, we about to do this. Let me write it down and let me start to execute this. and everything in there. Did it today. Do it constantly, man. And the days that I don't set my intention, all hell usually breaks loose. Why? Because I'm just like grass out there, right? I do not have a foundation. I do not have anything to stand on. So therefore, anything that comes my way usually will take my attention. So I have to focus, right? I have to understand that, hey, where's my plan at? What am I planning on doing today? Okay, today I'm doing X, Y, Z. Why? Because I'm setting myself up for this. I know that this is coming. So I'm doing all this prepping, and God's already given you the blueprint. Hey man, set your intentions. You know what you got to do. Don't let this come back and bite you and be something that you think the enemy throws on you 3 days from now. Set the intention to get on top of this stuff and take care of it, right? And that's where, oh no, man, I need to. No, 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 no. You need to take care of X, Y, Z. Set your intentions. Get to it. I had to write a recommendation letter today. Right? Oh, get to all that. No, 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 no. First thing you're gonna do as soon as you go write down exactly what you're gonna call Samsung. You're gonna do this. I'm going to do this. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm going to write this paper. I'm gonna write 2 paragraphs, and then you set what you would at a minimum level, and then you usually 9 times out of 10 will exceed that. Right? You'll exceed it, man. And then I'm gonna go do yoga. Okay, you actually start to visualize it as you're writing down. You're doing two things, right? Two ways of activating, like Voltron activate. You're writing down something and you're visualizing at the same time. So you're going through the progression in your head. Okay, so I'm gonna walk downstairs. I'm gonna unroll the ravel. Okay, I know they're over here. And you go through all that, man. It starts to cement things, and this is how you start to visually, well, mentally and written, develop your ideas into reality, right? Bring those things into fruition with those magical powers of thought and also writing. That's why it's so important to write down your goals. Why it's so important to write down your intentions on a regular basis. It will really happen. With thought, action, and writing it down, you will see something magical happen in your life. And then once you figure out that formula, once you get that formula in your head and you start to figure out that that will work in multiple places in your life, you'll start to apply it in all fashions, right? I want to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to. It's not even a matter of when you put in there, what is this? The book of positive intentions. When you put in there your positive intentions, that's being executed. Period. This is what I intend on doing today. I'm looking this up. I'm doing this kind of research. I'm calling this person. Submitting this. I did everything on my intention list today. Love it. So I was already charged by the universe and God. I was already fully charged. So no matter what the enemy threw at me, right? Catch a demon slipping, 3 piece, and you start to really dig of who you are, right? And you don't need that confirmation because you realize that's probably the enemy trying to throw me off. Oh, you look good. I don't even. Man, come on, focus right now. Oh man, man, I love it. I don't know why you're telling me that, but there's a reason, either for you or for somebody. But for me, I don't need it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I needed it, that'd be my battery, that'd be my charge, and I'll need that in order to function. But because my battery is from within, because my battery was internal, I don't need any type of external force in order to charge myself up. It's me and God, and that's it. And the thing about it is, once you start to figure that part out, takes the ego out of it. You just looking for impact with God and more opportunities to impact the earth. That will conclude our weekly tap in for this week. Wanted to make sure that you guys got a new episode, man. It's about to get crazy. We in the holiday times, but it's November 1st. I mean, I'm sorry, November 7th. Um, Make sure you guys, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, we need more subscribers, man. We're trying to reach that 1,000 subscribers, so make sure you share it if you can, and also leave us a review on iTunes. Other than that, one other thing, what I'm reading right now, I'm actually listening to it, and it called The Book of Deliberate Intentions, and that's by Esther and Jerry Hicks. The Book of Deliberate Intentions. Check it out. It's fantastic. Let me see if I have it on here. I have it on my Kindle reader. Let me see. Kindle reader or Audible. I'll share that with you guys in 1 second. Hold on. I'm just pulling it up. Let's see. Share screen. Let me get to it first. Getting small on me. I hope all is well with everybody, man. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm glad to be back. So I got a actually couple new books. So there's two. I'm being a little I could be a little bit more transparent. So there's two books that I want to share with you guys today. One is called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And this is important too because there was I got these suggestions from one of my students. And one of the things that I will stress is you can learn a lot from young people in so many ways. Bravery, um, um, trying new things, being open-minded. You can learn a lot from young people. So don't be one of them old crabby people that doesn't think that y'all don't know nothing. My time was the best time. That's the baby boomers be on that bullshit. So we'll forgive them for that, right? So um this is a good one right here. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Fan freaking tastic. It gets into the scientific things about being yourself and how you can get away from that, repeating the same types of behaviors and things like that. So it is really, 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 really good. I'm not finished with that. I got 3 hours left in that. But this is the other one that I'm looking at is the Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent. So I go back and forth with some of these, but they're fantastic listens. Highly encourage you guys if you have the ability to purchase the books, please do so. But other than that, I will conclude this episode with a thank you to all those listening from all over the world. We've been getting some love. We just saw somebody on Canada listening from Toronto. Haven't been to Toronto yet. I've been to Vancouver, so I do want to visit Toronto pretty soon. So shout out to my Canadian love. Appreciate y'all and all my people in the United States. AZ fam, thank you so much for tapping in. And I am tapping out.